You're watching KRON-TV, the Bay Area's news station.
And welcome back, everyone. I'm Jan Wall, and this is Rightsizing Your Life. It's a book that really tells us how to simplify our surroundings while keeping what matters most. It's written by Ciji Ware, and Ciji joins us now. Hi.
Hi, Jan. How are you?
Nice to see you.
It's so good to see you.
Now, you and I, we both have been in the business a long time. You were in L.A. like I was.
Well, I was sort of the Jan of L.A. I was on ABC for radio and television for 23 years, and then started a writing career in the middle of all that. And it was morning drive, 5 to 9, got up the same time you do, 4:45 in the morning.
Giving your opinions.
First woman supposedly in LA allowed to give her opinions. Oh. That shows how long ago it was. Yeah. But it was a wonderful, my son was 4 when I started and 21 when I finished up, and it was an amazing experience.
And now you've brought us this book. Talk about right-sizing. What does this mean exactly?
Well, you know, this book really, I've written novels and stuff, but this book came out of our decision to move away from Los Angeles to San Francisco. But when we did it, it was in the middle of the dot-com explosion, and there was no room at the inn, and we went from 4,000 square feet in Los Angeles to virtually a 500-foot pied-à-terre on the top of Telegraph Hill with someone else's furniture. So we needed a blueprint once we realized that our whole life had changed. Our son was out of the nest, our big dog had died, we'd moved to a new place, we didn't have the space we used to.
So you had a lot of stuff and no room.
No room, and I thought, you know, and downsizing is such a depressing idea, you know, and I said, no, there's a way to turn this around. Right-size your life, don't downsize it. And what I ended up realizing is that what we all need is just the things we use and the things we love, and that over our lifetime we accumulate so much stuff, and that as we get older it's just kind of dragging us down. So I realized, you know, it was for me, I had to go from 5 containers of furniture that we had brought up with us to what do I need now. So in the course of doing that, I kind of developed a blueprint for all of us who make changes at midlife. You know?
I like what you said. What do you love and what do you need? Those are the two things. And in this book you actually have specific information.
Well, you know, they always make you do a 7-step plan, you know, so I developed a 7-step plan. But what it really is asking yourself, do I love it? Do I need it? Is it beautiful? Is it sentimental? Is it useful in my life now? And is it valuable? And as you begin to look at things like that, you can begin to make choices that make sense for you now, not the way you lived when you drove carpool for 5 hours a week. You know,
whatever.
Your life is different as you, and it doesn't matter if you're young or old. It's your life. When there's a change in your life, there's often a change in your surroundings.
And you have information like where to, if you have too many pairs of glasses, for example, where to get rid of those, how to get rid of stuff.
Well, you know, I think it's part of what really encouraged me, and I think it was really impacted by living in the Bay Area, that we're trying to live more lightly on the land. We care about the green movement. We want it. And I think as you begin to decide, well, I don't need this anymore, but you don't want it to end up in the landfill. So what I did was I wrote this directory at the back that says, okay, what do you do with bifocals that don't work anymore? What do you do with your grandmother's walker? It's passing it on to people who can really use it. So I wrote this directory that tells you what to do with dead cell phones. You know, whatever it is that you're trying to...
Because people keep stuff. I mean, I know so many people that can't get rid of stuff.
I call it the areas of shame, you know.
And then you have this CD that people can get.
Yeah, well, we did a CD because when you're moving, and this is often when people need this, you're too busy to read a book. So we said, okay, what are the 20 most asked questions? So we did the CD that's available on the website, which is just the title of the book, Rightsizing Your Life. So it doesn't replace the book, but sometimes you've got a gun at your head, and you have to know, what do you do with those photographs? What do you do with those files of paper? You know, what do you do with your grandmother's pie plate? You know, all the kinds of things that you're just stuck at when you're really in a rush. So one or the other should help you out. That's why I wrote it.
Absolutely, and it's well worth reading, folks. I mean, it's amazing because we are so attached to stuff. Well, think of what you're attached to.
Well, that's the other element. There are a lot of books out there about clutter. What I was interested in is what's the emotional content. For instance, we opened up our stuff, and the first thing that popped out was my son's little rocking chair that I had made the seat for. Well, he's now 30, you know, but it was so emotional I burst out crying. So I wanted to find a place for that chair that meant something to me. I wouldn't sell it. I mean, a lot of things you could sell.
With it?
I was asked to be a godmother of my adorable little niece's child, and I went bingo. And I gave that chair, but only if my son gets married and has a baby, they have to give it back to him. So I found there was a solution to every problem. I ended up calling it creative recycling. And whether you give it away, sell it, and there's
Sure.
all the different paths that you can take
Right.
to lighten the load, you will end up feeling liberated and exhilarated. And it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like such a grim task.
Right.
But when you begin to be creative about it and feel good about unloading the things that don't have any use for you, it's just like you're let out of jail. I can't explain it, you know. So I'm sort of
freedom!
Free at last, you know.
Yeah, free at last.
And it's, I think we're drowning in our possessions, and
Right.
there's a way out, and it's not grim. It's fun.
All right, well, fun is this. Right-sizing, not downsizing. Right-sizing your life. Simplifying your surroundings while keeping what matters most. Your website is rightsizingyourlife.com. How easy could it be? Ciji Ware, I am so glad to see you.
Oh, it's wonderful to see you, Jan.
Yeah, and we've survived in this business, and right-sizing is the way to go. Am I right, Marty?
We are right-sizing our newscast.
Okay.
We have 2 more hours of KRON-TV News Weekend coming up. In our next hour, we'll have the latest on a deadly fire.